Welcome to this course on transition metal organometallics in catalysis and biology. We have been discussing olefin polymerization in the last few lectures, and the main focus of our discussion had been on the classification of olefin polymers that one can obtain through this olefin polymerization process. One thing for sure which is very much evident in our discussion so far, that polymers of different properties can be obtained through this process, and these properties can be very diverse. For example, they can be something very soft, they can be something materials which are soft, there will be materials which are hard, the materials which can be deformed, material which will be resistant to deformation. There will be materials which once deformed will retain the new shape, and then the materials which are once the deformation is released, stress is released, it goes back and has a memory to its initial state. So, what we had come across is a wide variety of properties that can arise in polymers, and based on these properties and their subsequent applications, these polymers are classified. So, in this context, in our previous class we have looked into three types of polymers. So, the first that we looked into discussed was thermoplastic materials. These are the materials they exhibit stability under short term strain. However, upon warming they transform into a plastic, that means they are easily deformed and they retain the deformed shape. Then we had discussed about duraplastic materials. And these are materials which maintain their shape upon extended period of strain or high temperatures. They are usually formed by cross linking prepolymers by heating, and this cross linking formation is usually reversible, and this cross linking is very fine meshed and they have very low segmental mobility, and as a result of cross linking, duraplasts are rarely crystalline. In our earlier class, we had also discussed another new type called elastomers, and these elastomers are the materials which can be easily deformed. However, once the deformed stress is removed, they go back to their original shape. So, that means they have a memory of their initial shape, even though they are deformed. Once the deformation stress is gone, they go back to the original stress. So, these are elastic materials, or rather properly known as elastomers. They also are made up of cross linking of prepolymers. These prepolymers are however long chain and they have wide mesh. Okay. So, these are the three materials that we had discussed in the previous class, and today we are going to start with the fourth one, which are called elastoplastic material or thermoplastic elastomers. The fourth one that we are going to be talking about are elastoplastic materials or thermoplastic elastomers. Along the same line, we are going to describe another form of polymer which are called reversible duroplast. So, today we are going to focus on these two polymers number 4 and 5, which is elastoplastic material and reversible duroplast, before we move on various classification of polyethylene polymer. So, let us begin by discussing elastoplastic material or thermoplastic elastomers. Or thermoplastic elastomer. And these lie somewhere between non-cross linked thermoplastic, and so these polymer lie in between non-cross linked thermoplastic thermoplastics which we had discussed earlier, and cross linked elastomers. And this is achieved by in copolymers or in blends. They are achieved, they are usually achieved in copolymers, polymers of two different types in the same chain, or in blends. Blends that have both duroplastic as well as elastomeric domains, that have both duroplastic and elastomeric domains. At this work in such a way that at low temperature the mechanical properties of elastomer content dominate, of elastomer dominate, and that however, at higher temperature the cross links of duroplastics domains are cleaved of duro domains are cleaved and are cleaved and the material becomes thermoplastic. So, this is kind of interesting that these elastomeric materials or thermoplastic elastomers are actually lie in between cross-linked thermoplastics and cross-linked non-cross-linked thermoplastic and cross-linked elastomers, and they usually are synthesized by or they are achieved in copolymers or in blends that have both duroplastic and elastomeric domains. At low temperature, the mechanical properties of the elastomer dominate, whereas at high temperature the cross links of the duroplastic material domains are cleaved, and as a result the material become thermoplastics and behave as a thermoplastic material. So, this is kind of interesting classification of a new kind of polymeric material. The last in this discussion before we move into polyethylene is that of reversible duroplast. Now, reversible duroplasts are exhibit properties which are both duroplastic and thermoplastic materials. Of both duroplastic and thermoplastic materials. And their primary difference between duroplast is, unlike genuine duroplast, they are reversibly cross linked. In contrast to genuine duroplast, they are reversibly cross linked. And in this case usually this chemical cross linking is often a result of coordination of ionic polymers to metal ions. So, these are not like covalent cross link where there is overlap of orbitals to make a bond. So, these are mainly of ionic cross link type. The chemical cross linking arise from coordination of ionic polymers to metal ions. And so, this is unlike the chemical cross linking which involves chemical bond break cleavage. This is more like a coordination bond between ionic polymer and the metal ion which gets reversibly cleaved during its application purpose. So, the other properties of reversible duroplast are include partially crystalline thermoplastic materials, thermoplastic materials, and also the reversible physical linking, cross linking, also the reversible physical cross linking is affected by lattice energy of crystalline domain. Now, this is an important property that this reversible physical cross linking is affected by lattice energy as well. So, which sort of points to the fact that non-covalent interaction are also plays a important role in this material which are reversible duroplast. Now, so far we have discussed 5 classes of materials starting from thermoplastic, duroplast, elastomers, elastoplastic materials and reversible duroplast based on the type of applications and the type of their material properties. Now, with regard to polyolefins, the versatility of polyolefins can be gauged by the fact that there are polyolefins for each of these categories have been prepared, and that is why they are so very important. So, the versatility about polyolefins is evident from the fact of polyolefin is evident from the fact that polyolefins that they have been prepared for each of the categories. Each of the categories mentioned above. So, that shows how important these polyolefin are. Now, with this having defined what are the categories of polyolefin, classifications of polyolefins, we are going to in bit more detail and look into the type of classification that exists for polyethylene. So, polyolefins are classified according to their density that arise from their nature of crystalline extent of crystallinity, then number and nature of cross linking, the number and nature of cross linking present between polymer chains. Polyolefins are classified according to the density, and this is something that arise from crystallinity as well as number of nature of cross linking present between polymer chains. Now, based on this, we are going to now look into various classification of polyethylene, which is kind of important from our perspective. Now, polyethylenes are usually classified into three types. The first being LDPE. So, this is called low density polyethylene. They are usually flexible materials and transparent as a film. Their density varies from 0.90 to 0.925, and their property is that they would have long chains with branches, small branches, and the branch chain will have smaller branches as is shown here. Also over here, the branch side chains will have branches, and these are called low density polyethylene. The next variation is called LLDPE. These are linear low density polyethylene. They are also fairly flexible, transparent, and their density would vary from 0.925 to 0.94, and they would also have branches on the main chain. Their side branches are less. So, they mainly have branches in the main chain. So, that is why they are called linear low density polyethylene. And the third of this type are called HDPE or high density polyethylene, and they would vary from 94 to 0.97. They are usually rigid and often cloudy to even opaque, and they are just polymer chains without any branching. As is shown over here. So, with this we come to the end of today's discussion, where we have looked into various the remaining two variety of polymer classification, including elastoplastic material or thermoplastic elastomers and reversible duroplast, and finishing that we looked into classification of polyethylene, which are of mainly three types: linear low, first is LDPE, low density polyethylene, that has a density of around 0.90 to 0.925, and they are long chain polymers with branching on the side. Then we have linear low density polyethylene, where density is from 0.925 to 0.94. They are also flexible and transparent material. Here also these have very short branches along the main chain, but not really big chain branches. And last we had this high density polyethylene having density from 0.94 to 0.97, and these are rigid and cloudy to opaque materials, which does not have at all any branching. So, with this we come to the end of today's discussion on polyolefin classification. We are going to look into this polymer color classification in bit more detail when we meet next for ethylene as well as for polypropylene. And I once again thank you for being with me in this class, and we would have more interesting discussion about this polyolefin classification when we take up the topic in the next class. Till then, goodbye and thank you.